Welcome to Daily Dose Radio, a 5-minute devotional podcast studying the Psalms verse by verse. Broadcast from the ever-beautiful Sharonville, Ohio, on the sunny side of Cincinnati. Hey everybody, welcome back to Daily Dose Radio. This is your home for organic Bible study, where we study the Psalms verse by verse every day, 5 days a week, 5 minutes a day. So I hope you can come back and join us as we continue on this road that we're traveling down, studying the Psalms one at a time, verse by verse. Today we're looking at, and all this week, Psalm 76. Psalm 76 is 12 verses long. We have an introduction in this psalm that says, "To the chief musician on Neginoth, a psalm or song of Asaph." Now this "to the chief musician" comes here. Of course, we know the chief musician. We've seen him before. He's still busy doing his thing, arranging all this music. And this music is arranged according to Neginoth, which means, Neginoth means music, probably music on a stringed instrument. It is a psalm or a song of Asaph, which we saw last time in Psalm 75, meant that it was to be played and sung, that both options were available to the choir master. So we know what is to be played on, because it's to be played on some sort of stringed instrumentation, the Neginoth, and it is to be sung. And this is a psalm about God's greatness, how terrible and how wonderful He is. Let me read for you verses 1, 2, and 3 today. In Judah God is known. His name is great in Israel. In Salem also is His tabernacle, and His dwelling place in Zion. There brake He the arrows of the bow, the shield, and the sword, and the battle. Selah. Well, all right, first thing is, what was this written about? Is there a battle in mind? Is there a timeline here? Well, you can look at this psalm in lots of different ways. You can look at it from a historical perspective, and it would be real easy to place at least these first 3 verses, and maybe more, probably the first 7 verses, into a historical context when David took Jerusalem. Because you have the name Salem used here in verse 2. Salem also is His tabernacle. So the Salem is used, Zion is used. These are words that would be used at the time when David took Jerusalem for his capital. And then later on, not too long afterwards, he is attacked by the Philistines, and he gains a great victory over them at Baal Perazim. So that is a possible story behind this psalm. In Judah, God is known. Of course, Jerusalem would have been the seat or the heart of Judah at that time. I don't think at the time that David took Jerusalem, he had the entirety of the 10 tribes behind him. He probably just had Judah with him and maybe Benjamin. And so those were the tribes that were with him at the time. So in Judah, God is known. His name is great. His tabernacle's in Salem, His dwelling place in Zion. So you see how boom, 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 we get these descriptions. His name, His tabernacle, His dwelling place. This also can be seen as a future thing too, because we could be looking into the future. In Judah, God is known. Well, that's not now, because in Israel, it's not exclusive. There are many that follow Him there, but it's not exclusive. I think this means exclusivity. His name is great there. I'm not sure that God's name is great in Israel, maybe in the hearts of some, but the return that is prophesied has not happened quite yet. In Salem is His tabernacle and His dwelling place in Zion. This could be looking forward to the time at the end when the Messiah reigns in Jerusalem. It also could be looking to the present, that we have a heavenly Zion and a heavenly Salem where His tabernacle certainly is there, and His name is great there, and His dwelling place is there. So it could be that as well. And then we have the breaking of the arrows, the bow, the shield, the sword, and the battle. And who does that? God does that. Of course He does. He always does that. That's what He does for His people, is He takes care of the battle that rises against us. Well, join me again tomorrow, and we'll look at verses 4 and 5 on Daily Dose Radio. Thanks for listening to Daily Dose Radio. I'm David Smith. The music today has been performed by the Bluegrass Experiment. Thanks again for listening. I'll see you next time on Daily Dose Radio.